chance, 'cause there is no circumstance that you can't handle when you use your mind. Sonic boom, sonic boom, sonic boom. Trouble keeps you running faster. Sonic boom, sonic boom. Save the planet from disaster. To the light, it's a supersonic flight, gotta keep it going. Sonic boom, sonic boom, sonic boom. Trouble keeps you running faster. Sonic boom, sonic boom. Save the planet from disaster. Sonic boom, sonic boom. Spinning through the world in motion. Sonic boom, sonic boom.
Hello everybody, and why am I British? Hello everybody, and welcome back to Greenosity. This is my third ever video on this channel. And as you can see from the video, well, Sonic CD has won the poll. And in my Discord chat, I put up another poll if the next video should be on Sonic 3 or on Five Nights at Freddy's 1, but that will be decided later. Anyways, I'm covering Sonic CD today on my channel, and let's just say, unlike the Sonic 2 video where I say the game is flawed, this time I will try to tell you my opinion on why this is a good sequel, why it's a better sequel than Sonic 2. Once again, I'm going to state Sonic 2 is not a bad sequel. There is no such thing as a bad classic Sonic game. However, Sonic 2 just happens to be the most flawed sequel out of them all. In my opinion, Sonic CD is a better sequel. You may have noticed that I am not using anything that's like the original Sonic CD hardware. Well, that's because I don't own a Sega CD. And even if I did have a Sega CD, getting physical copies of Sonic CD is kind of hard to track down. It's kind of hard to get. And then once I have them, I'd have to find a way to record them. Plus, I'm not going to go through all that trouble of maybe getting an emulator to play the game. So I'm playing it as close to original as possible. I'm playing the original Christian Whitehead 2011 port. I'm not going to play the Origins version because I want it to be a separate application. We'll cover Origins later. However, I do not turn on the original Spin Dash because I'm used to the original one, even though I probably should have if I'm trying to play it as close to the original as possible. Alright, with that said, let's get into the video. Sonic CD is made up of 7 levels. What are those levels? Well, they're Palm Tree Panic, Collision Chaos, Tidal Tempest, Quartz Quadrant, Wacky Workbench, Stardust Speedway, and Metallic Madness. Here's a little fun fact for you. There was supposed to be an 8th level if you go into the files, and it's even been revealed in, like, I think it's Sonic Anniversary video that there was a deleted level, which is why when you go into the menu mode where you go and try to pick like the level select, it switches from round 1 to round 3, and round 2 I believe had 2 different names that have been somewhat not confirmed but also confirmed from 2 different people, which are Radical Root and Dubious Steps. There was supposed to be like a Marble Zone type level for the game, Oh, that being said, almost all of the levels are stand-ins for the levels in Sonic 1. Palm Tree Panic being a stand-in for Green Hill, Collision Chaos being Spring Yard. I mean, you could say that Quartz Quadrant could be a marble type zone. After all, it's being called Quartz Quadrant. And that's just my thought, even though we already know that we were going to have Dubious Depths or Radical Root. Anyways, we have Tidal Tempest being a stand-in for Labyrinth, and Stardust Speedway for Starlight, and Metallic Madness for Scrap Brain. These levels are very different from what Sonic 2 does, where Sonic 2 tries to go into like, oh yeah, speed, gotta go fast. Sonic CD instead goes in the direction of the bottom root of Sonic 1, where it's like explore, which isn't a bad thing. If you play the game, there are some cool maneuvers that you can try to do the way that the levels are set up, like going back in time from like the past. If you wanted to go back to then, you might have to pull up some tricky maneuvers in certain levels, because in certain levels it's not that easy to go back in the past. However, most of the time it is pretty easy to go to the past, with an exception of what I would say would be Metallic Madness Act 1. That one gave me a struggle to get back to the past. Also, Quartz Quadrant Act 1, I believe. The level designing in the game is pretty good, in my opinion. There are new enemies, like last time, and your ring boxes that return, the speed shoes that return. However, something that doesn't return is Supersonic from Sonic 2. That's because Sonic CD was being made at the same time as Sonic 2, and canonically takes place in between Sonic 1 and 2, which Origins canonized that and put that as a statement saying, hey, this game is in fact part of the timeline and it takes place in between 1 and 2. Yet some people on the internet like to argue that no, it actually takes place after 3 and Knuckles, or no, it technically takes place all over the timeline, because the past, present, future, just quiet down. For simplicity's sakes, Sonic CD takes place in between 1 and 2. It's confirmed. And if you try not to, just look at Origins. Heck, even the Encyclopedia says that CD takes place in between 1 and 2. Anyways, from level to level, you'll get the sense of, well, exploration going fast. However, I will say there is one enemy that kind of does tick me off, and it's in Palm Tree Panic. The ones that, I don't know their name, but whenever you get near them, they stop, and then they shoot stuff. And no, it's like a ground enemy. It's like equivalent to like a Motobug, but less friendlier, I guess. But they stop and they shoot, and it really annoys me because most of the time I lose my rings. Anyways, the purpose of going into these levels is to try to get the good future. Which, now that I'm talking about this, I should probably mention the story of Sonic CD. You see, the story of Sonic CD is very different from Sonic 1 and 2. Well, for one, you're not saving animals like in Sonic 1 and 2. And the story has more depth this time than Sonic 1 and 2, where Sonic 2 is basically just, oh, we're gonna repeat Sonic 1, but with a new character. This time, it's, yeah, more story and a new depth. The story is basically, after the events of Sonic 1, Sonic basically sees Little Planet trapped and runs to it to save it. Now, in order to do that, you have to either collect all 7 Time Stones, not Chaos Emeralds, Time Stones, which have never appeared in the games since, even though being referenced to a couple of times. Sega, please let the Time Stones return. I mean, they could have returned in Mania. I mean, Mania's story is literally a spiritual successor to Sonic CD, story-wise. They could have reappeared, but they didn't. They chose the Master Emerald over the Time Stones, which has been mentioned and shown in literally a lot of Sonic games. If you even think about the ones after 3 Knuckles, like Adventure 1, Adventure 2. However, the Time Stones are more obscure than the Master Emerald and the Chaos Emeralds. Anyways, you either have to get the 7 Time Stones, or you have to get the various, what are they called? Robo generators? Or Badnik generators? I'm gonna call them Badnik generators. You have to get the various Badnik generators throughout the levels. And for each level, there's 1 per each level. So there's 1 for each act, you have to go find it. Usually they'll be at the bottom or the top of the act. And then there's also something else that you can find in the acts. Metal Sonic holograms. Now this isn't required to get the good ending. However, you can, if you get them all, then you get an achievement. And it's kind of 100% completionist. I will say, you can't get both achievements, like Treasure Hunter and I don't know the other achievement, but you can't get both of them because you would have to go and destroy the Badnik generators first, and by doing so, you can't really get the Time Stones because the Badnik generators are up until Metallic Madness 3, and I believe the Time Stones, you can get the Time Stones up until Metallic Madness 1, or something like that. I don't remember. I know for Sonic 1 is you can get all Chaos Emeralds up until Scrap Brain Act 1. If Metallic Madness, if I'm remembering correctly, you can get this. You can get them up until Metallic Madness Act 1. And either way, you kind of have to start a new save file because if you, no, I'd say that you could either do that or you would have to unlock the level select to get the other achievement. Speaking of achievements, I haven't gotten the heavy metal one. Well, I have, just on a mobile device. Weirdly enough, on the mobile version of Sonic CD, which is for some reason out of service now. Why, Sega? Why is Sonic CD off the App Store now? I don't know. But I've gotten heavy metal somehow on my phone, but not on my computer. I tried twice, and I wasn't going to waste my time on capturing gameplay footage. So I just left it. Anyways, back to the story. It's basically you have to create a good future by going to the past, getting the robo generators, or by getting the 7 Time Stones. And while you're there, the first new character in this game has been revealed. If you play Palm Tree Panic and you don't go into the past, or if you go into the past and then go back to the present, then you'll see Amy Rose there. It's kind of a red herring if you think about it, because she appears in, like 4 levels in total. However, the next time she appears is when the story and the plot thickens. Okay, so once you get past Palm Tree Panic and you get into Collision Chaos Act 1, Amy Rose will be there again. but instead of being at the end, she'll be at the beginning and get kidnapped by the second new character, Metal Sonic. Which, by the way, it was very hard to choose which character I was going to use for the thumbnail. It came very close, and I decided to go with Metal Sonic. I'm sorry. Maybe Amy Rose could be used later. However, Metal Sonic kidnaps Amy Rose, and you don't really see them again. So now it becomes, create a good future and rescue Amy Rose. So then you go through the game, you get through the water, the better waters of Tidal Tempest, and then you get through, well, honestly, the bop that is Quartz Quadrant, because that level sure is fun in the music. Then you get through the, well, wacky workbench. Come through the iconic Stardust Speedway. You rescue, well, Amy Rose. By doing what? Fighting Metal Sonic, of course. And we're going to talk about this race later in the video. Anyways, after it comes to saving Amy, it comes to back to what the plot originally was, just creating a good future, and then you basically fight Robotnik at the end. So yeah, basically if I wanted to simplify the story, it's, oh no, Sonic saw Little Planet locked up, and he goes there to create a good future, and save Amy Rose. Anyways, I'm going to talk about the music now. Okay. So the music, if you aren't aware, or in the loop, or if you've been living under a rock for how long? 32 years, then let me tell you something. This game has 2 different soundtracks. 2 different. It has the US and Japanese soundtracks, because in different regions they got different soundtracks. Now I know that this game also released in Europe. I'm not sure, and I don't remember which soundtrack that it got, or if it got like a mix of both of them. But anyways, as of right now, Europe doesn't matter when it comes to, well, Sonic CD. Anyways, you may have seen on the internet, if you have known, or you may be thinking like this, because I surely am, that the Japanese soundtrack is superior in almost every single way. I know that there are a few die-hard US soundtracks extremists, but honestly, in my opinion, I like both, but I like the Japanese one a lot better. There are certain songs from the US one that I like, and then the whole Japanese soundtrack is just a bop. Let me go and list. Okay, Palm Tree Panic, I like the Japanese version. On all past, present, good future, bad future. Collision Chaos, yeah, like the Japanese version. Past, present, good future, bad future. Tidal Tempest, I like the Japanese version. Past, present, good future, bad future. Quartz Quadrant, I like them in all of each time period. The same with Wacky Workbench and Stardust Speedway. Yeah, the Japanese Stardust Speedway is better, and the Bad Future song is more iconic than any of it. I like the past, the present. I believe, however, the American and the Japanese soundtracks do share the past for Stardust Speedway, but other than that, I like the Bad Future. However, I will note, I do like the American Bad Future for Stardust Speedway, just not as much as the Japanese one. Anyways, then you have Metallic Madness, and I can't even picture Metallic Madness without the iconic beginning. In my opinion, I will say this, that even though I don't really care for the Mania remixes, I do like the Metallic Madness Act 1 and 2 remixes from Mania a whole lot better than the original Metallic Madness from Sonic CD. However, I do like Metallic Madness from Sonic CD. So, anyways, that would just leave us to Special Stage, and in my opinion, Special Stage music is way, way better in the Japanese version than, well, the American one. And I know because I had to listen to the American one when I was going to search for the music, and yeah, the Japanese one is better. And then we have our first one where I prefer the American soundtrack. So you know the opening song? Or the opening cutscene? Yeah. Yeah, I prefer Sonic Boom. Yeah, Sonic Boom from the American soundtrack is the one song where I will switch over to the American soundtrack temporarily just to hear that song, and then flip it back to the Japanese soundtrack for the rest of the game. Don't get me wrong, I do like, what is it called? I do like, what is it? I think it's called Sonic Warrior, but I do like that song, and I do like its ending version too. I'm just more of a fan of Sonic Boom than... Okay. Let us talk about the special stages now. So there are now 7 special stages since the last of Sonic 1, timeline-wise, but it's not new for a game release order. And I will say, unlike Sonic 2, where I liked the special stage, but had a problem with it, as many people did, I'm gonna say, and go ahead and say, that this is the best special stage out of the original tetralogy. It's better than Sonic 1 special stage. It's better than Sonic 2's, well, blockiness or whatever. You can't even see the render in that special stage. And it's certainly better than Sonic 3 and Knuckles' Blue Spheres. Don't get me wrong, I love Blue Spheres. It's the second best special stage from the original tetralogy. However, Sonic CD, it's the best special stage. And it's also the first 3D special stage, technically. I don't know if it's real 3D, because you can move in all directions, or if it's pseudo 3D, like what they did in Sonic 2. I think it's real 3D. It might be real 3D, considering that this game was made for the Mega CD and not the normal Genesis card. But I'm not sure. Tell me in the comments. Anyways, the purpose of these special stages are to get the time stones, and to get the time stones you have to knock out all of the UFOs. Yeah, these UFOs will appear again later in a different game. However, you have to knock out all the UFOs, and that can range, like, the first few special stages are easy, and really, once you get past the nerve of 6 and 7 being the final 2 special stages, it's really not that hard. However, in my opinion, the hardest are 4 and 5, because it's just, I don't know, I always struggle with 4 and 5 with the certain path movements. If you touch the water in Sonic CD Special Stage, then your time will start to go down, and if your time goes all the way down to 0, then you'll be kicked out of Special Stage. However, in the 2011 ports, you can pause the game, exit the menu, and then go back to story mode, and re-click on your save file, and it will open up from the special stage that you're currently on, which is a lifesaver. It truly is a lifesaver. I probably should have used that during my playthrough, and it probably wouldn't have affected me losing on the 6th one so much. Ironically, I say that the 4th and 5th one are the hardest for me, yet it took me 3 tries to get the 6th time stone. It literally went from Quartz Quadrant, Quartz Quadrant 2, I believe, to Stardust Speedway 1 to Stardust Speedway 2, and I finally got it. Anyways, it takes a while. If you step on, what do I call them? Like, they're spikes, but it's like spike traps. I'm gonna call them spike traps. Then you'll lose rings, and I don't know exactly what they have to do with time. I think they just have to do with score. If you're running low on time, then just wait it out for a bit, because, well, it depends where you are, first of all, but if you're over 30, go and try to get the rest of them. If you're at 30, try to get the last of them. However, once you hit like 25, start running towards the middle, because as soon as it hits 19, you're getting an extra UFO that is purposely there so that when you knock it out, it gives you more time. And to distinguish it from the purple and blue UFOs, it's given a red stripe, so you know that that UFO specifically is there for time, and it will keep respawning, so you can keep trying it for hours and hours. Imagine if someone made like an endless special stage mode where it's just Sonic CD special stage, and then someone's high score is really high because, well, he keeps getting the red and blue UFO that gives him more time. That'd be funny, but also, why are you playing it? Anyways, guys. Once you knock out all of the UFOs, then you'll be given one of the time stones. And if you're lucky enough to be good at games, ironically, because I failed getting the Chaos Emeralds in the first 2 games when I played through, with Sonic 1, I got to like the 3rd Chaos Emerald, and I got to like Labyrinth Zone, and then I pressed S on the Mega Drive, on the Mega Drive collection, because I still have the Mega Drive collection from Steam, and for some reason it didn't take me out to pause because I wanted to go save my game. It literally failed, and then I had to start, and so I just decided that I wasn't going to get the rest of the Chaos Emeralds. And then Sonic 2, when I knew not to press S, it literally was taunting me because I wanted to get all 7 to show off Super Sonic. And to show how good that was at the game, because I could get all 7 of them in the Emerald Hill Zone. However, I guess my skills are just fading from Sonic 2, because I barely play Sonic 1 or Sonic 2. Like, if I play a game, I'm going to play Sonic 3, Sonic Mania, Sonic Superstars, or any of the modern games, which I have been playing. And surprisingly, my skills weren't gone when I played CD, because I hadn't played CD in a while. Anyways, once you get the special stage done, and you succeed a special stage, then if you have all 7 to them by the stage, you don't have to really collect the Badnik generators anymore, because you'll be given a good future. However, if you're just getting the special stages and going for them because it's a lot easier, well, first of all, I don't blame you if you're new. I mean, I think when I was new, I did both at the same time. I did both the special stage, and I did the, and I did the Badnik generators. But even though it marks you as bad future if you get 1 time stone, just know if you get all of them, then no. all the features will be reversed and the game files and you'll be in a good end of the game. But anyways, back to main gameplay. Why do I think this game is good? Well, it comes to the fact that, well, I just like the game. The music, in my opinion, is way better than Sonic 2 or Sonic 1. The level design, it lets you pull off cool maneuvers that you really can't do in Sonic 1 or Sonic 2 unless you're like a task speedrunner. And honestly, the boss fights are pretty good. Oh, wait. The boss fights. Well, this is one of the downsides of Sonic CD. I mean, they're still the same, technically, spam boss fights, but they're more creative this time. I will say, the bosses here are more creative than all of the other Sonic bosses. Like, Sonic 1 and 2, it's just like, oh, with an exception of Labyrinth, by the way, with an exception of Labyrinth, is, oh, you gotta hit the boss 8 times. Yeah, well, sometimes it varies. It can vary a lot. Palm Tree Panic, I know it's a joke, but you can literally go behind the machine and hit it 3 times. However, I will say the other ones are pretty good. I will say that the hitting is, well, the hit points for each boss is a little inconsistent. Palm Tree Panic's hit points are 3. Yet Quartz Quadrant is 4. And Metallic Madness is also 4. Okay, so let's get on to the bosses. Palm Tree Panic, honestly, it's a joke. But hey, it's a good attempt to beat a different first boss to what we're usually used to. What do I rate it? 5 out of 10. It's mediocre. Collision Chaos. Well, this is gonna be hard. I rate it 8. Even though it really, really frustrates me time and time again, I can't say it's not good level design. Because it is. It's literally pre-Sonic Spinball. That's what it is. I mean, you still gotta hit the boss 4 times, but still, it's a fun level that will frustrate you. Oh, it's a fun boss. Tidal Tempest. Man. 6. It's not a joke like Palm Tree Panic. However, I will say it's a little less, because you can basically, what you're supposed to do is you can get 4 free hits in this. Then you go in, and he takes your air bubbles, Eggman or Robotic, whatever you prefer him to be called at this point. I mean, technically in, what is it? Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog at this point, Tails has already called him Eggman, but he doesn't get called Eggman yet. I mean, in Japan he does, but he doesn't get called Eggman in general yet until Sonic Adventure 1. That was a slight tangent and rant aside. He takes all of your air bubbles, and you have to, well, I mean, it's creative. You have to take all the air bubbles by, like, you know, gasping for air. And then, once there are very few air bubbles left, you can hit him. I mean, it's not bad, but it's also creative. I will say, I don't like that it's just 4 free hits. Maybe if you just, like, I don't know, make the whole boss like that. Like, oh, he's always taking your air bubbles, and then you have to get him to down to a couple each time. Plus, it will stress players out a lot more. Quartz Quadrant. This is the first out of the no-hit bosses, because you don't have to hit this boss. I've actually got a glitch when I was playing on my phone. Yeah, you're bound to run into glitches in the mobile ports. The only glitch that I haven't seen on a mobile port was in Sonic 1. I don't think I've seen any glitches in Sonic 1. However, Sonic 2, yeah, you know those layering glitches that people have been saying, oh, that's a Sonic Origins thing. No, it isn't. I've encountered that on the Android version of Sonic 2, like 5 years ago? And then there's just the Aquatic Ruins glitch that I got in my iPhone version of Sonic 2, where it was basically if you beat the Aquatic Ruins boss fight, if you press the capsule as you're running, like you jump at the perfect time, press the capsule and move while the camera's moving, you can basically move past the capsule and into a different area. Unlike the layering glitch, I do have this one screenshotted on my phone. However, I am not sure right now because we're not talking about the other versions of the Christian White port. However, Sonic CD, I've only came about one glitch, and it was on the iPhone mobile port, and it was in the Quartz Quadrant boss fight, where basically, if you don't hit the boss. You can literally run so far to the point where you can literally see the capsule, which I do have posted on my Game Jolt. Anyways, that aside, this is the first no-hit boss. Because to beat it, you don't hit it. You just avoid its projectiles, and the projectiles, I guess, worsen the track, and it makes it harder for Eggman to stay on the track because of, well, friction and corrosion. Yeah, I bet you didn't know you were going to hear those scientific terms today in this very video about a video game unrealistic hedgehog. Anyways, you also got to try to avoid the spikes in the back. But after that, you move on to, well, the Thing. Wacky Workbench's boss fight. In my opinion, the boss fight for Wacky Workbench is... Oh wait, I didn't even write Quartz Quadrant's boss fight. Quartz Quadrant, I'd say it's a 6. Wacky Workbenches, basically it's a vertical boss fight. Vertical? Yeah, it's vertical. Basically you hit him every time. So you hit him once, then little platforms will start to fall down, and you gotta make it to the second one. After the second platform that you reach, and after you hit him, once you get to the third one and hit him, spikes will start to fall. And I guess it's a good little mix-up. I will say that this is the one boss fight that still kills me in that game. Ironic because I died to Sonic CD in my very playthrough that I recorded for this video. However, this is the one boss fight that still actively kills me. I died in Stardust Speedway due to incompetence. However, this one on Wacky Workbench still kills me. I rate this one an 8 because it is hard. And even though it frustrates me, this one is actually a pretty unique idea that I don't think has yet been replicated in classic Sonic history. Well, maybe. I'm not sure. Anyways, then we get to the one that you've most likely been expecting. Versus Metal Sonic. So, this one is the first very different one. Well, what I mean by one is very different boss fight in this game. And it's the second no-hit boss fight. So basically, you go into Stardust Speedway Act 3, and you may have either got the good feature or the bad feature. But let's just say you got the good feature. And then You get your rings, and then you start off the then you run, and then you see Metal Sonic. You think that, oh, you're just gonna have to hit him a couple of times. That's wrong, because when the gate opens and Bad Future Stardust Speedway starts playing, it's a race to the death. Unlike the other boss fights where it's either hit or just waited out, this very one, will test your skills at platforming and moving in the game. And there are multiple paths in this boss fight. There's a top path. I mean, technically, if you want to count as certain parts, there will be ways to get in the top path. I mean, you can stay on the top path too by being on the top path in the beginning. However, you gotta avoid all of his attacks. If you go too fast, yes, Metal Sonic will catch up with, what is that? An Electro Charge, because it's Blaster Charge, because he's blasting back up there, and you will get hurt. If you go too slow and go behind him, yeah, you get electrocuted, I guess. And let me guess, or let me tell you something, not let me guess. Let me tell you something. You go too slow, no matter how many rings you got, you're gonna die anyways, because Robotnik's, well, is following slowly behind, waiting for you to get in his trap. Yeah, the laser is insta-death. That aside, the track is actually pretty long, and if they were to make like a Metal Sonic endless runner race, I feel like that'd have a lot of plays. Make that happen, Sega. Jokes aside, what do I rate this boss? 9 out of 10. It's almost pure perfection. There's little things that could be tuning, like maybe having other hazards on the track than just spikes. I mean, yeah, it's good that there's no enemies, because there are no enemies in Act 3 anyways, but... And then there's just a little too much spike placement, like there was Spike Happy that day. Anyways, Metallic Madness. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. It's kind of an anticlimactic final boss. It's still a fun one. I'll rate it a 5. It's mediocre at worst. At best, it's okay. It's just not should be the boss fight for the end of the game. And it most definitely shouldn't have 4 hits. I mean, this boss fight probably would have been an absolute game changer. And probably my rating would have gone up if it was more hits. I mean, I know that would mean you would have to give him more of whatever those flaps are. But if it had more flaps and if it had more hits, like, let's see, it was all over the place because it was at 3, 4, and 5. Maybe give it an 8. Like the normal boss fight in Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 Knuckles. I don't know. Maybe that could work. Okay, moving back to the levels. I've been glossing over this for a little bit, but I'm going to talk about the levels and why I think they're good. Again, because I didn't simplify it enough. Honestly, all the levels have bank of music. Almost all the levels have good placement and good gimmicks. What are the gimmicks of each level that I like? Well, I like Palm Tree Panic. Doesn't really have a gimmick. I mean, it does because you can go into certain parts of the level and then come out through the wall out of other parts. So I guess that could be a gimmick. And also the invisible floating objects where you expect to fall but then you just land on one. Collision Chaos is obviously the springs and they call it the bouncy balls. That's what I'm going to call them right now. I know I'm going to get roasted for not remembering what they're called, but the collision objects. Tidal Tempest gimmick is obviously the water in the tubes. Quartz Quadrant's obviously the conveyor belts. And I think that those are all good gimmicks. Stardust Speedway, I like Stardust Speedway's gimmick. Stardust Speedway's gimmick with where you could change the track layer that you can go on. That's honestly a cool idea. That should be replicated and returned into another Sonic game. I'm surprised that they haven't done that with Sonic Mania, but then again, Sonic Mania, they kind of got rid of everything for Stardust Speedway, gimmick-wise, for Act 2 and Act 1. Metallic Madness, it doesn't have, well, yes it does. Act 2 has a gimmick where with, what is it called? The tubes and, oh yeah, the first appearance of Chibi Sonic. Because if you go into a laser as normal Sonic, and it's certain lasers, you can turn into a tiny, small Chibi Sonic. Honestly, 10 out of 10. No notes. Jokes aside, even though Chibi Sonic is awesome, the gimmicks are good. However, this level is being held back by the fact it's a little too spike happy. Again, like Stardust Speedway Act 3, it's just a little too spike happy. There's spikes everywhere. It's kind of like the Metropolis of spikes. How Metropolis was kind of bad, well, enemy placement. Metallic Madness is kind of, well, I mean, it's not bad, it's actually pretty good, but it kind of drags down the rating with the spikes. There's one level that is skipped over. I should probably go over. It's Wacky Workbench. And if you could tell throughout the video, you may be able to tell, or could already tell, I do not like Wacky Workbench. It's like Labyrinth, it's like Metropolis, even though I think Labyrinth and Metropolis are fine in their own respective games. And while they were supposed to be the hard levels, Wacky Workbench is like one of the only classic Sonic levels that I actively despise. The only good thing I can say about this level is the music, because honestly the gimmick just ruins the level. Honestly. So, if you don't know or never played this game, or never seen someone play this game, which, how have you not seen it? It's literally almost everywhere. And or have you been living under a rock? But the gimmick is basically floor is lava, except the floor isn't lava. It's a trampoline, and it bounces you up, and it's very annoying. The other gimmick is basically, I'm gonna say it again, electrocution. Where the top parts of the level are filled with, I don't know what they're called, but they'll electrocute, and if you get crossed in their crosshairs, well then, you're losing the ring, or you're dying. Anyways. The whole, the floor's a trampoline trick. Yeah, I don't like that. Why? Well, there's constant enemies everywhere, constant electrocution everywhere, constant spikes everywhere. It's just not good when it's compared to that. Also, when doing a good ending run, and you're trying to get, because I honestly, when I get to Wacky Workbench, I'm like, if I don't have the 7 time stones by that point, I usually just like, nope, not getting them. Not getting them in the Wacky Workbench. Unlike Labyrinth, where I will try to get the Chaos Emeralds in Labyrinth, and if I haven't gotten the Chaos Emeralds in Sonic 2 Metropolis, then I'll try to get them. Like that, Wacky Workbench, it just feels kind of hard, kind of impossible to get it, because the places that you're trying to go, what makes it worse is some of the placements for the robotic gens. Robotic gens. My brain's fried. For the robotic generators, is that one of them is literally you have to get crushed by a crusher that you'll think that will crush you, but it will bring you to the generator. It's just very weird. It's a mechanic that doesn't show up again, I believe. Which is very weird to have a specific one. Like, if you were gonna do that, then maybe have a couple of more within the level. Because honestly, it's a fun little mechanic. But if it's just one crusher and it brings you to one place, and all the rest can kill you, it just, like, unless if you already know, you're gonna be like, well, I searched everywhere, and then you're gonna think that you died by getting pushed, and you're like, huh? What's happening? Anyways, I think that the floor is lava, or the floor is a trampoline. Gimmick could work if it were more open and not constrained, and if there weren't so many enemies everywhere, and if there weren't the electrocution things at the top. Is there anything else I need to talk about? Well, I don't think so. I think there's just one thing I need to talk about regarding this game, is that the move-ins for the game got an add-on. It got add-on. So basically, in Sonic 2 you had Spin Dash, which was added to Sonic's normal moveset. Sonic CD in the original game you had the Spin Dash, which was different. If I remember, well, I wouldn't have because I never played Spin Dash. It's different because you actually have to get momentum by continuing to tap the Spin Dash bar, the Spin Dash button. Which honestly, in my opinion, that's how Spin Dash works. And then you also had the Supersonic Peel Out, which never appeared in another classic Sonic game after CD, canonically. I mean, you had the moveset of CD in Sonic Mania, but really, in Mania we should have had Peel Out, Drop Dash, Spin Dash, and the Insta Shield. And Sonic 3 would replace the Peel Out with the Insta Shield, which is kind of sad. Superstars, we didn't even have the Insta Shield, we had the Drop Dash and the Spin Dash. So if we're gonna get a next classic Sonic game, Sega, then just maybe include more things than just the Drop Dash, the Spin Dash. Also include like the Insta Shield and the Supersonic Peel Out, especially the Supersonic Peel Out, since really it hasn't been a part of the main moveset since 1993. Well, anyways, there's nothing else I need to talk about. Well, if you remember what I said earlier, I said that in the Discord server, I put a poll in between Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and Sonic 3 and Knuckles. So, the next video will either be on Sonic 3 and Knuckles, or on Five Nights 1. It's probably shaping up to be Sonic 3 and Knuckles, honestly. Anyways, if you liked my video, please like. If you want to subscribe, then subscribe. This is my second channel that I used to make content on other media that isn't my own. And I know that I've been talking about and reviewing the Sonic games recently, but maybe I'll do some other non-review type stuff, because if you look at my description, it says I do more than just, well, reviews, but I also do, like, I draw and I create stuff. That's maybe. That's, as right now, might want to finish the series. Also, it's just very hard getting uploads right now, so because I have to deal with, finishing my game project while also, school started this year, and this will be my final year of school. So I'm doing all of my schoolwork, and I also have to do other things that I need to get done. So if I don't upload in a bit, it's because I'm really in a cramped situation. And really, I wanted to get this video done like a couple of weeks ago, but I wasn't able to. But you want to know what? It's all going to turn out okay. Anyways, see you in the next video. Subscribe to Greenosity, and don't forget to never, ever stay up past 4:45 a.m. Goodbye.
I'm out of here.
ClipChamp is listening to